Round two, welcome to Karma on Deck. I'm Karma. This is your Aquarius reading for the week of February 3rd. Let us take a look and see what your energy is. Love and light to you. They're all surviving Mercury retrograde. This one's been deep and wild. I was going to say wide, but it is deep and wild. This Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, which I was reading where they were talking about how humanitarian has been, and Aquarius is very talky. So all I've heard so far is people talk, 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 and nobody's listening. A lot of misunderstandings. Everybody feels like this is the time for them to get on the soapbox, and it doesn't matter if you respond or not, they're still going to go. So have a little patience with each other. Be kind if you can, disengage if not. Let's take a look and see what Aquarius is looking like. I am an Aquarius moon, so I'm curious to see how this plays out for moi. And here we go, Aquarius. Two of Cups. First card that comes up, balance, love, external, internal. You have the Emperor, similar to Capricorn had the Emperor in some places, but that was in the moon reading. So here we go. We have some intensity going on for you in quite a bit of places. We have the Chariot card, which is intensity. If you look at the Chariot card, this has an individual driving his chariot or her chariot, their chariot, and they are trying to get it to go a certain direction. And what it's requiring from this person is a lot of intensity and focus. Okay, so this can also mean focus, because these two horses are looking in completely different directions. And what is important to note about that, very Cancerian energy there, is that, this intensity that you have, like if you take your eye off the ball at all, it feels like you're going to lose it. But the Chariot is all about intensity. You also have the Lover's card, and this card right here is about that internal balance and trying to find it. I was just saying how my meditation mantra for today and my yoga practice was balance, of course, for yoga, but it was about divine feminine and divine masculine balance. And this card right here, the Lover's card, is all about that dichotomy and that split and the energy of the two coming together and having a hard time, like really balancing itself out. You have a lot of major cards just like Capricorn did, but I'm going to have to admit that this is some very heavy energy, and it's moving like this big tsunami. It's like one of those things that moves away and it's come crashing in. It's not one thing, it's all things. So no matter what you're doing, it feels like the little tiny inconveniences as we go. I'm seeing the Moon card, which is fear. The Moon card is unexpected events. It's kind of like secrets. The Moon card has to do with fear. It's also a little bit about mapping. And so if you look at this card, it has the Pisces moon, okay? And the Pisces moon is our card for the understand, so the moon here is Pisces, and then we have these two pillars of where our individual is coming from. And what she's saying is, this is where I've been, this is where I've come from, this is where I'm at, and where I'm going. You have these crabs here, and sometimes indicates fear. And this also means a journey that's necessary, but you're not excited to take it. There's a lot of things, going to the dentist being a small example, the breakup coming in and being like, we have to have this conversation, right? And so it's one of those fearful moments where you have this timing for that. We have the King of Cups, which is love, right? Outwardly expressing love, being of, mastery with it as well. And that's your desire. You have the Death card as well. So did Capricorn, but kind of in a different aspect. But I see that you want to do some changes. Some of you might be wanting to go back to school with the Page of Wands and play. This is some, not exactly higher education, but it might be an online course, some continuing education for work. I'm also seeing for you, Aquarius, where you feel as if you're backed into a corner. You do have this Three of Wands, which is the hot seat. So this is feeling criticism, and that energy is wildly abundant right now. Everybody feels like they have a right to give their opinion to you, and you're not required to listen. You're not. And a lot of times they have missing information on the background, especially with all the miscommunication that's going on right now. It's basically because it's missing data. Nobody's slowing down long enough to communicate appropriately. Nobody's really looking at anyone other's side, right? So we have this Three of Wands and misinformation. Misinformation, miscommunication, hot seat, pressure, gossip, criticism. So if you're feeling as if things are a little hot and heavy right now, they absolutely are, but this isn't life-changing. This isn't devastating energy. This is just uncomfortable energy. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those comedy shows where they roast someone and they sit them up there and they make fun of them, but they do it kind of lovingly and playfully, and it can be pretty brutal. Little savage bastards get on there and are like, that's a little bit what it feels like. But it almost as if, like, if you reframe this correctly, you can use this to move you and propel you forward, because that was the purpose for my DNS post, my Dark Night of the Soul. When I posted the Dark Night of the Soul, it was because of the abundance of information that I'm getting from clients who are talking to me about how crazy things are right now, how so far off the books people have been behaving, and how unexpectedly um twisted things can get with just one word, or even no words. Like, you could say nothing. I have a family member that I didn't speak to for 6 months, and next thing you know, I get a letter. I mean, I can even say nothing and you can get popped. So I was listening to a song this morning that said, Jesus never lied, yet he managed to be crucified. So if you can use that and remembering not one of us is Jesus, but if he can be crucified, then we can be put in a situation. And I think that's a beautiful analogy of just remembering that there isn't very much you can do about other people's opinion. No matter how hard you dig or strive or try, if they're not listening, it's not going to go anywhere. And ultimately, you're just spinning your wheels and wasting your time. It's not like you don't love them any less. You obviously can't redeem yourself in any way. But here's the truth. I'm not trying to be crucified. There's only one way to win the game at that point. There's winners and there's losers, right? And so what happens is, if there's no winners, then you don't play the game. And I think that's one of the things what I learned at PSI seminars when we played. We had some activities that were quite a good example of that, where it's like, if you don't like the rules of the game, disengage, right? If it's not going forward, if it's not a win-win, if it's not feeling like, a lot of us have what we call sunk cost fallacy. Well, I've already put this much time into this marriage. I've already put this much money into this business. So you're just going to see it through, instead of just acknowledging the elephant in the room. In my case, it's an elephant in a china shop, and it's probably the most expensive crystal in the world, because mine would wreck shit, my little elephant, right? And so it's really hard for us to just address it, and we dance it around and try to fix these things, instead of just speaking to anyone in general and be like, this is not okay. So I do see here the page of coins next to the death card. So this is like, some big changes when it comes to money. Like, you have this money in front of the maze. We have this other card that's kind of similar to it. Even though I teach the tarot, sometimes I forget, unless I'm looking right at it, what its meaning is. But this card right here is this card where it's like you're trying to find money for some situation. So maybe it's to go back to school because you're looking for a change. If you look at that progression of cards, it's this card where it's like, how do I find this money to put to this thing? You want the money to get into the puzzle, to get to the puzzle, fix the puzzle. And then you have here the death card, which is major change. So you're looking for some major change, and a lot of us can't afford to go back to school. That's why I make the tarot class the way I do, and give you different options so that you can have the resource without having to do the big thing, right? So we have the Page of Wands, which is a small education. So that could be, like I said, an online course or something like that that's going to benefit you in the future. I will say indecision is a killer. You have analysis paralysis with the Two of Swords, and that's the inability to move forward or back. But here's the thing. Decision making, even if it's a decision to make a decision. So an ex of mine called me recently with, just venting a little bit, and I asked him if he wanted some coaching. He said, sure. And I said, make a decision to make a decision. Like, if you don't feel like you don't feel like you're ready to make a decision now about this relationship or this situation, it's the anxiety is caused by feeling stuck, feeling caged, feeling bottled in and boxed. And what does a caged animal do? What does a dying animal do? It fights, it bites, it cries, it whines, it's not satisfied, bitey little bastards, right? And so when you're in this cage and you don't know what it is you're going to do, and you lash out, and I forgot my point. Always getting distracted by all these devices. But anyways, so, here's the thing. We ultimately know that when we have this, so let me go back to where I was. So analysis paralysis, I lost it. Anyways, rewind. So ultimately the point is, sometimes we get stuck in what we call sunk cost fallacy. We put so much into an effort that we don't want to let go of that effort because it cost us so much to get there, right? But we have such a hard time letting go of dead things, and we make so much about why we're letting them go. And one of the most valuable lessons I've ever learned is the ability to change my mind. I will always wonder why I had it in my head, and who taught me, or what dynamic of thought processes told me that I couldn't change my mind. Okay, I got married. Wow, is he an asshole? Now I'm stuck. Okay, when did I not throw time out earlier so I could have prevented some of the drama that came after, right? Or a business or a boss that wasn't going well, and you're about to snap and cuss them out and throw your keys and quit. Here's my badge, right? We don't speak to these things soon enough. So we have this Two of Swords, analysis paralysis. So my point being, in telling this friend of mine, to make a decision, thank you. I just caught it, Karen. Thank you. So to make a decision. So I said, so give yourself a month to evaluate and put it on your calendar. Is this relationship good or bad? A red star or a gold star? good or bad, you had good day. And you can take a look and see you've had 0 good days in a month, or you've had all good days in a month and you're just a negative PRACK, right? So I'm like, you got to look at it and then say to myself, after 30 days, I'll make a decision. If you're not ready to do that, make a decision now, right? To make a decision. And it takes that anxiety away, because not having choices and not being able to make decisions creates that caged animal feeling. So there's science to this, guys. All right, let's pull a card for you from the Mystic Dreamer. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much and that was useful to you. I swear. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. All right, so let's see what our Aquarius moon is looking like. Book your one-on-one, karmaondeck.com. Please join me on my YouTube. That's where I want your support if you love me. I'm trying to get some gold hit with that one. It's a good time to get your reading. We've got Valentine's Day coming up for your relationship ones. It's the beginning of the year still for those of you that haven't gotten your annual peek at what's coming for 21. All right, here we go. Aquarius moon, Queen of Swords. That's my bitch card. So the Queen of Swords is the card that is, you know yourself, right? And sometimes with all of this miscommunication that's going on, and all this talky and opinions and whatever, we have the bitch card. This is our Queen of Swords. It's where you say the thing like, okay, that's enough. You need to stop. Or maybe you are flying the bird around because it's necessary at times to get people to stop or they're not listening, right? So I do see the Three of Swords, which is miscommunication. I'm also seeing the Four of Cups, which is a little bit of regret. Like you cannot enjoy what's in front of you because you're missing that one thing. Because you can see, like in the background, she has that one unattainable thing. I see the Hangman, which is a delay. So Aquarius is very frustrated at things not moving forward. And if you look here, we have the Hermit card, which is evidence, the Devil card, Five of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles. So for those of you that are Aquarius moon, this is talking about conflict. You have the Devil card. Someone is lying to you, antagonizing you, poking you. You have the Five of Swords, which is outward conflict. So not only are they passive aggressive, they're actually speaking to it, maybe backing you into a corner. And maybe it's from that prior reading for your general spread, whoever it is that's got you on the hot seat. It just feels like this constant antagonistic event. And so what do you do with it? What do you do with it when it's already fully fledged in motion and it's this huge hurricane of, I don't know where to start, right? We wait for the eye of the storm is what we do. We wait it out. And if it's getting worse, quit. You got the win-win. And if it's not a win-win, don't play the game. But we're not all in that comfortable of a position where we can make those moves right now. So it is very frustrating, right? We have the Three of Swords, which is miscommunication. Again, so we're thinking about all the things that got said wrong or whatever. And we do have the Star card. So just know that whatever is going on for you, Aquarius, is in alignment. So this card has to do with alignment, being aligned with the stars, being focused on how the push and pull and what the divine purpose is for you. I do have this idea, though, that Aquarius has got this I quit mentality. And it doesn't mean you're going to execute it, but be careful of your I ams. You have the Nine of Swords, which is this sleeplessness, this staying up at night, hashing over the day, going over and over information until you think you've got it all. And then we have here, which is the Eight of Cups, right? And in looking at this card, I was always inspired to talk about that song where they say it's not over till the fat lady sings. Well, if you look here, the show's over. She's got her violin. She played her sad song and she is out. Okay. And then right next to that, we have this Nine of Swords. It's like, I keep thinking about quitting. I can't wait the day until I tell this off. Right. But if you can just pause a little bit and wait, we have the Page of Pentacles, which is new beginnings. And I just see it being a delay. I don't see any endings. You didn't have the Death card quite like Capricorn did, but you have the delay, and that's frustrating you beyond belief. So I would just encourage patience, a little meditation. I do see the Two of Cups, the Ten of Pentacles, which is legacy, and I'm seeing the Hermit card, which is evidence, and it's also like going within. So Mercury retrograde is my favorite time to take social media break. It's my time to unplug, and it's my time to not engage, because there's so much potential for things to get twisted. It's a catalyst, right? So what I do is I check out and I take evidence and I take notes and I pay attention to what the flow is, and I look at my foundation and what's underneath. Because with all this chaotic and tumultuous energies, what I do is use that opportunity to see what is exposed underneath, and I make a decision based on that. But I never make decisions during this period if I can. Let's pull a card for you from the Divination of the Ancients and finish this up. Let me know where you are in the world and how you felt your reading went. All right, here we go, Aquarius. Prayer. I like this. I've added prayer to my 5 things I do for me in a day. Drinking water, taking my vitamins, doing my yoga, and prayer. right? One of the other ones is a personal one. It's about the space regimen, right? Make sure I do things daily for good habits for myself. And one of them is prayer. Like, when is the last time you prayed? Now, my prayer might look a little different than yours. It's where I just sit in gratitude, in meditation, and I take a moment to reframe my I ams from any negativity, and I put them into a beautiful light of gratitude. So, what is it you pray for? Find your way to find sacred space. I want to thank you for hanging out with me. I will catch you on the flip side. Next time I come on here, you will see me doing Pisces, and I'm a Pisces rising, so that'll be good. Thank you for hanging out with me. I will catch you on the